So I guess now that PlayStation has bought another studio, it's okay for people to talk about studio acquisitions. And you know that I had to talk about this. But before we get on with the video, definitely go down there and hit that like button if you guys enjoyed the video. You can always subscribe to the channel for weekly content. And don't forget to go over there and follow me at Twitter at LordAddictIOP. Without any further ado, let's talk about Sony buying these studios, because they have bought at least one, but it's looking like two. What's going on, you guys? Gaming Guide here, coming at you for another video. You know, on this channel, we have talked a lot about studio acquisitions. I actually probably have another video that I want to make off of, Xbox buying a particular studio, of the rumors going around. But today is Sony's highlight. Today we're talking about Sony, and it looks like this morning they bought the developers. Well, they announced. I'm assuming they bought the developers a while back. But they announced that they bought the developers of Returnal. Now, what does that mean? Has anything drastically changed over there with Sony? Most likely not. Sony usually works with the developers they buy for years upon years at a time, and then once they really feel like this is a worthy acquisition, it's worthy of our money, then they go out there and they buy it. We saw it from Insomniac. They have bought a few studios in the past, and it does look like this studio, particularly like Marquee or something like that. I definitely butchered the name, but that is the newest studio for Sony. What does this mean? Like I said, their games have generally been PlayStation exclusive anyway, so you're not going to see anything change generally what they've been making. They're going to be making PlayStation games here going out, just like they've been making PlayStation games for the most part the past 15-20 years. I don't know how long the studio's been up, but I do know they've been around for a while. But it doesn't look like that Sony is stopping at one acquisition going forward. It does look like Sony has acquired at least one more. There is a lot of social media accounts out there that's owned by Sony and are ran by individuals, but one person messed up, and it looks like instead of uploading the Returnal one where they bought that studio, they accidentally uploaded one that says they bought Bluepoint. Does that mean that this is 100% facts? Probably not, but I would say that you can pretty much say that this is gonna happen. It's just like the Returnal thing. They've worked with this studio for years, and this makes sense. I don't think there's anything about this rumor, or it's not really a rumor, someone just messed up. And you know, that's kind of crazy. I know there's a lot of different variables going on when you're running multiple social media accounts and you have multiple people running these social media accounts, but it feels like people generally mess up a lot, man. Like, for instance, when they were doing those trailers at E3, people constantly put the wrong promotion ad where they would put, like, you know, on other platforms and PC on the Demon Souls one. They did the on PC for the Final Fantasy 15 one. So it feels like Sony over there needs to really get together and figure out where this miscommunication's going on, because we're usually where I see, if you see smoke, there's fire. I do believe some of their games are coming to PC, like the Final Fantasy 15, and that Demon Souls is most likely probably going to go to the PlayStation 4. Because what was interesting about that promotion on Demon Souls when they did that event is it said other platforms. So it's either coming to Xbox, which if you ask me is highly unlikely, or it's going to the PlayStation 4. Now, is there an issue if it goes to the PlayStation 4? I don't think so, but you know, it goes from person to person depending on why you picked up that PlayStation 5 and whether or not waiting that 6 months to a year, if it does come out for the PS4, was worth the wait to be able to pick it up on the PlayStation 4, and if you feel justified enough buying a PS5 for that particular game. So with these two studios, you know, the people that make Returnal, I am not trying to pronounce their name, and Bluepoint, is this good for Sony? Like I said, it doesn't really change the needle for say, because for the most part they've been making only PlayStation games. I would give it a little bit of a similar thing going on with Xbox when they bought studios like Undead Labs, Playground Games. Look, it's awesome that they picked up these studios, because at the end of the day, any other entity could pick up these studios. You know, if Microsoft was able to make an agreement with Insomniac or the people that make Returnal or Bluepoint, then it would be a lot harder for Sony to maintain this momentum, because they're going to be losing studios. So what's the best way to ensure that you don't lose studios? You buy them. There is a demographic of Twitter that wants you to believe that a studio being bought doesn't resonate with people, and you shouldn't be excited about studios being bought. If you're a PlayStation gamer, you should absolutely be hyped that they bought these studios, because that doesn't necessarily mean that you'll get newer games that you wouldn't have got if they didn't buy them, but it means that these studios are going to be around, and that is something you should be excited for. You should be excited for the fact that PlayStation is supporting their internal studios enough to go out and spend millions of dollars to acquire these studios. Regardless how you feel about Returnal or Demon's Souls or anything else that these studios have made, it might not be your cup of tea, but it is about making the platform more diverse. I have gave Sony a lot of criticism in the past for what I feel like they're being less diverse. They're not trying to open up the avenues to as many type of genres as possible, but them going out and they making sure these studios stay in their in-house and they're always making games for them, and I think that's good for everyone else, especially if you're on the PlayStation ecosystem. Look, at the end of the day, I've always encouraged competition. We want competition. We don't want any of these console manufacturers to get to the point where they feel content. We want them to be battling out with each other. So at the end of the day, who wins on that scenario more? The consumers, us, the gamers. And I'm always for this. You know, I want Microsoft to go out and buy more studios, and I want Sony to go out and buy more studios. I want them both to compete for our buck. And at the end of the day, you guys know how vocal I've been that Sony couldn't just keep going and doing stuff the way they're doing it. They had to buy some studios to make that amount of studios that Microsoft and Sony have a little bit closer together. Like I said, it doesn't really matter if you have a huge banger every year when the other studio, which is Microsoft, is aiming to have 3 really good games and a few AA games, and then there's going to be those indies sprinkled around. People will go where the content is. Sure, people will buy PlayStation, but the more you keep people on the Xbox ecosystem with Game Pass and all the games that's coming in there, the less people are going to be on their PlayStation. So Microsoft and Sony know this. They're competing with each other in terms of content. Sony knows that, look, right now we're fine. We're making probably the best games on the market, but how long can we keep that going? If Microsoft's dropping 3 to 4 games a year and 2 AA games, then can we really realistically compete with that with just 1 to 2 games a year coming from our first party studios? And obviously stuff they have with Square Enix, you know, they are doing things to compete, but I do feel like in terms of quality and quantity, they did have to buy more studios. That way they can keep up with that output, because once that engine for Xbox starts, Sony's going to have a hard time keeping up with that, because at the end of the day, content is key, and people are going to remember playing all the games on Xbox as long as they're good. We got to keep that in mind. It does not matter what Microsoft's doing if these games don't come out and they're good, but I have a feeling in terms of the past projects that a lot of these studios have worked on, there's going to be very few of them, if any, that's going to give you bad quality games. But anyway, that's the video, you guys. What do you guys think? Do you have any other studio that you would prefer PlayStation to buy? I'm going out right now and saying I do believe that they did buy Blue Point. We're gonna have to wait for the official announcement, but I think there is a chance we see some more studios that PlayStation bought. Definitely put in the comment section below, who would you guys want PlayStation to buy? Realistically, I guess you guys can put anything you want down there, but realistically, I'd say keep that in the comment section so I can come back and read it later, so I can figure out exactly where the temperature is in the room and who exactly wants what to buy who. But that's the video. This is Gaming Addict. I'm out of here. Peace.